70 participants. They have. So good morning, everyone. At the outset.
Good morning, sir.
At the outset, Honorable Principal Dr. N.S. Patil sir, Vice Principal Professor N.B. Desle sir, today's keynote speaker, Mr. Proyas Bose sir, my companions, and dear student friends. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all for today's webinar on data science and machine learning. My friends, MVP's KBTCOE is always committed to be a beacon in imparting the knowledge across the student fraternity and the educational fraternity. So with this note, I would like to request Principal Dr. N.S. Patil sir for his opening remark of keynote address. I request Patil sir to please proceed for his keynote address remark. Sir, please.
Thank you, Uzgure sir. Good morning to all of you. Is it audible?
Sir. Yes, sir, it's audible. It's audible, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning, all of you. And welcome for this webinar. I must congratulate Uzgire sir for arranging such webinar on data sciences and machine learning. And I also welcome my colleague, Professor Desle, and expert from this subject, Mr. Proyas Bose from Pune. All of are welcome on the behalf of KBTCOE. I will give little idea of what I know about data sciences and machine learning. There are two types of analysis. If you take analysis from quantitative approach and one is qualitative approach. Maximum techniques or research is going in quantitative analysis. Data is coming, we are having huge data centers. Data is there, like from satellite data is coming, then many more techniques are there where we are acquiring data, but we are just storing that data. No further processing is done on that data in maximum cases, as it requires a technical knowledge and that much compatible hardwares. And due to that, whatever may be possible, we are doing analysis on that, but that is too quantitatively. Quantity analysis is having some limitations, because where we can count, then only we can say that quantity is this much and this much, like that. But second approach, which is very important, qualitative analysis. Now data is there, but what data is used for, or qualitative data analysis is also important. And quality approach is important. I will give example. Today we are having this COVID-19 testing analysis machines, and that requires hardware also. But here quantitative analysis is not done. They are checking qualitative things. For example, that COVID-19 patient is giving swab, and from that RNA is extract, and that RNA of that patient is reacted with reagents that generate many chemical reactions, and that chemical reactions output is detected on analyzers, but they are samples and lakhs of bits are coming, or you can say bytes are coming, and that is stored in computer memory, and that is processed on a machine which displays the graphs. And from graphical things, a microbiologist is analyzing that whether this patient is positive or negative. Again, if there is some human error in analyzing that graphs or some error, then that may process to wrong results. So this data, which is detected by these COVID detectors, that if we process correctly and qualitatively, easily directly software can say that this patient is negative, this patient is positive. But still today also, when I am checking many machines as a instrumentation engineer, when I am checking what output is coming, that is in graphical only, and the human is interpreting or technician is interpreting that result is positive or negative. So here, this is one example. Many things are there. From satellite we are getting weather forecasting, but still today also, after coming that data on earth, we are unable to predict correct forecasting of weather by using that data. There is huge scope in analysis of this. And second thing, machine learning. Now uh, day by day use of machines is increase in every sector. Today also, doctors are not going near the COVID patient because they are having chances of infection. So in this case, if robot can serve the requirements of patients by going there and taking ECG or some temperature or giving medicine or like that, if we do some machine learning in this sector, that will be huge, that will be having huge demand in healthcare industries and many more. So this subject is very important. I appeal to all students to take advantage of this data sciences and machine learning webinar. Our guest speaker is very expert in that subject. He will guide more than that. And Prayas, you just correct me if I am wrong somewhere. You correct in your speech where I am wrong. I wish all the best for all this webinar, and think so that it will be fruitful for all our students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for bringing the real insights of data science and machine learning. You are always a motivational force for us. With this, now I would like to request our Vice Principal, Professor N.V. Desle, sir, to address the gatherings of participants.
Today, sir, for giving me this opportunity. I would just brief it in a few seconds only because all are eager to hear the expertise of Mr. Prayag, sir. Ours is an institute which always makes continuous efforts and which tries to overcome all the hurdles which are coming in the path of learning or teaching of any student by using all the techniques. Especially it is being observed very sincerely since the mid of March. All our staff members and departments are doing their best. They are using all the possible methods, online methods, to make the students aware and to cover all the syllabus. Even the tests are being conducted, and this webinar is also one of a very important tool that is being used by the Department of Information Technology. So I congratulate all of them. I am sure that this webinar will be very helpful for all the students, and as I already have discussed with Usgire sir, that it can be recorded and shared with other students, because I can see that 81 students are participating out of 101, which is maximum. So this is also one of a very good achievement. Just talking about data science and machine learning, what Dr. Patil sir, our principal and education officer sir, had said, that qualitative analysis is being done and quantitative is also important. I was just talking with my son in the morning about this data science, and he just gave me an example that suppose there are 1,000 COVID patients and there is one medicine which is being useful for say 100 patients. So that percentage of success rate of that particular medicine is being calculated, is being fed to that particular robot or artificial intelligence machine as a data. And there may be some patients for whom that particular medicine is not useful, but there may be other medicine which is useful. So that artificial intelligence compares it and accordingly it takes the decision. So that was very interesting to hear, and let us see how it is being proceed by using this webinar. Of course, Prayas sir will be giving all the information. And regarding the robotic use that just Dr. Patil sir had mentioned, I am very happy to share that our team of Ray Robotics has participated in MHRD Mega Online Challenge Samadhan, and we are the only team from Nashik which has been selected in the second round, and I have shared this information on WhatsApp on all the groups. So I am sure that by taking this result as an inspiration, all the students and staff will take the advantage of this webinar. And I wish all the best to all of them. And once again, I thank you all. And I wish all the best to this webinar participants and the team of information and technology. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your inspirational words. The Department of Information Technology is always strive hard to do as much as possible for their students under the leadership of Dr. V.R. Sonone, sir. We are very thankful. Without his support, this wouldn't be possible. Without wasting time, it gives us immense pleasure to introduce our today's keynote speaker or the resource person, Mr. Proyas Bose. Mr. Proyas Bose is a solution specialist. He is a data scientist and analyst in Intelligent Technologies, Pune. So his job profile, it includes understanding the requirement of clients, help in developing the unique and impactful use cases in the data science and the machine learning, which will help in simulation of the model and will generate the meaningful insights for the organizations. Mr. Proyas Bose is a All India Faculty Development Trainer for the Ministry of Human Resource and Development, Indian government. So far, he has trained more than 3,000 faculties with a positive track record on the data science. So his objective is to train and develop the skills and competencies on the niche areas of the technologies like machine learning, deep learning, and data science. So without wasting the time, I welcome our today's keynote speaker, Proyas Bose, and I request him to continue with his session. Sir, Proyas Bose, sir, I will give you the presenter's window.
Yes, sure. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, Desale sir and Patil sir, for giving me this opportunity. I'll just share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Yes.
Sir. Yes.
Okay. So just a small presentation from my side to make things much more better. So as we all know that data is the new soil and we have to cultivate it. Rather than I'm saying it as an oil where the money is more, let's begin with data is the new soil which we should cultivate it and bring out some rather insights. Okay, so nowadays we all know that data science and machine learning is going at a faster rate. People are shifting from one domain to another to come to data science and work on that. Not only that, there are big researchers or research institutes, for example, for this COVID situation also, one of the big institutes like Bill Gates Foundations. So what they have done, they are using this COVID-19 as a case, and they are building certain machine learning and deep learning models to come up with a certain type of drugs or some type of research which will help them to eliminate this kind of viruses. So how they are getting and how they are building those, this is what the question comes. That is where data science helps a lot. So if you know data science, data is the only thing that will help to erase all these things. So whether it's any kind of viruses, whether it's any kind of business opportunities or any kind of business gains or any kind of profit, data is the only thing that will help on do that. Nowadays, the big oil companies are not making the money. It's the data company which are making the lot of money. For example, if you go for Facebook, Facebook is free for all of us, but no one gives you free because they captures all our personal data also. They are not sharing, but still they capture a huge amount of data. From that they are making and generating a huge amount of money. So that's why the term data is new soil. Rather than we waste it, we should cultivate it. So with that, let me give you some idea of COVID. So we all know that it's a big virus or a pandemic that is going on around the world, and it started from China, where it started spreading. And if you see the confirmed, the total deaths and the countries which are being affected, we all know that it's now spreaded in the entire region, or you can say in the entire world. People are suffering from that. Not only the people, but also the economy of our India or many countries are also suffering that. So there was a big troll yesterday which came out, is that Indian people have suffered their economy while saving the lives of the people, while the American people have saved the economy while suffering their peoples. So see the difference in that, what India did and what US did. But still, if you term is as a data science or as a machine learning, what data science and machine learning are helping to come up or to cover these kind of viruses is, if you see, scientists are working as quickly as possible. But if you see past what a drug used to take time when they used to come out. So it takes around 12 to 15 years for a drug to come out, test it, to validate it, and then productionized in the market. But nowadays, with the help of machine learning and various artificial intelligence, as Sir told, it takes a week. So the time and the cost, which has been reduced from around 12 to 13 years to a week, that's what data science and machine learning is doing. So not only that, for example, there are various methods. There was various traditional methods which takes a lot of time, which are very much costly. Whereas in machine learning, the process are being automated right now. And it takes, rather than a huge amount of time, it takes very less time to use those kind of things. Data science also helps in analyzing the spread across different regions. So for example, for 1 million population in a particular region, what is the spread? So data science will help you and gather those insights from that. Also, not only that, what are the confirmed cases or what are the death cases that has been come from that region? Based on that, what are the symptoms that has been generated from that region which are being positive? So these are all details, data that has been confirmed and that has been came out from those particular regions, which helps them to analyze faster. So now, with the use of machine learning and deep learning, for example, in a case of COVID also, where a patient's virus has been image recorded, and from that, how the virus is spreading, that has also been captured and well analyzed so that they can come out with a particular treatment. So these are all things what data scientists and machine learning experts are doing. They're building great algorithms for that, whether it's any kind of neural networks or any kind of image processing, what they're doing to find out those insights. Any questions? I am audible in this, right, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible. Dear student friends, if you have questions so far, you can type your questions in the chat window. I can see your questions, or the professor also can see your questions. Is there any question?
So,
sir, I think there is no question.
So we can take at last also.
Yes, sir. Yes, that's what I.
Yes, we can take at last also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, why this data science is becoming so much popular? If you see, it is termed as one of the sexiest job of the 21st century. Okay. So, as you know, that there are lots of skills that are being available. There are lots of opportunities that various business or organizations are providing. One is the huge amount of data that is being generated. If you see over the statistics, what it tells, 44 zettabytes of IT traffic, that is global IT traffic by 2020. So can you believe there are 44 zettabytes? So we have been sharing a lot of data around this. That's what it's creating a big buzz right now. Data science, machine learning, how they are working is based on this data. Whether it can be any kind of data, whether it's unstructured, structured, whether it can be a video processing data or an image processing data, all those insights can be covered out unless the data is present to you. Okay. If you see the volume of data, it has been 40 zettabytes, which is 300% from 2015. Can you believe? The more we go on with the era, or more we go on with the years, the data is getting generated as much as it can. Not only that, as the digitization has came over the past many years back, that what helps the data to process much faster. So now it's a world of big data, it's a world of you can say AI or machine learning. which is helping the process to move faster. If you see what humans generate 2.3 zettabytes every day. Whether you are chatting on Facebook, whether you are using any WhatsApp, whether you are in a YouTube to watch videos, or whether you are typing anywhere, you are doing some transactions from a retail store or any kind of Google Pay or Paytm, all the data are being generated from that. So a particular individual human can provide data around 2.3 zettabytes. Can you believe that? A particular human. So if you have 1 million human, you can see what is the amount of data that is being populated every day. That is what the statistics tells you. And that's how the data is being processed and being analyzed. So for example, let me give you an example. Zomato. What Zomato every day does is that they collects a huge amount of data from customers, from which locations the customers are booking. For example, in the situation of COVID also, they were used to give foods. But in that situation, what is the amount of people are booking? So they are able to find out which are the people who are alone in their houses. Okay, which are the people who are basically a corporate people who lives in a particular PG or in a particular flats, and from that they can give their particular discount so that they can give those foods. They are making a bookmark, you can say, for those kind of people, so that they can come out with a latest strategy to make those people more loyal to them. That is how they are bringing out business. That is how they are bringing out a collective use of data. Okay, so just an example how the data is being generated. If you see Facebook is free for all of us, but we know that nothing comes out for free because they generate a huge amount of data from us only. For example, 2.2 billion Facebook active users. Can you believe that? Highest 2.2 billion people that are using those Facebooks. They are the active users. The highest among social media channels. For any social media channel, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, 2.2 billion is the Facebook, which is the highest as per 2020. Now, 400 Facebook users who sign up every minute. Can you believe? For each minute, 400 Facebook users are getting signed up. Around 5 lakh new Facebook users added daily. These are the huge amount of data. So can you believe, one in every day 5 lakh users are getting generated. So how much data they will provide you, and how people uses Facebook. If you see over here, 88% who access the platform via mobile devices. Users who use the platform daily is 66%. So out of the entire population, 66% of the population uses daily. The Facebook they uses daily. Even it has been found from a research that people from rural areas are using more Facebook than urban areas. That is also has been found by some of the researchers, maybe Gartner only. So US users who get their news from Facebook is 43%. 43% of the US users are getting news from those Facebooks only. Nobody watches TVs and news televisions right now. Everything is in Facebook, everything is in YouTube and all. For example, nowadays people stop buying TVs or any kind of other platforms, right, to watch movies and all, because Netflix and Amazon Prime, they have already provided you with those kind of series and movies which you will like, which you will prefer more. That is how they have given you. So if you see, Facebook is a huge player in online advertisement market also. This is one of the business strategies they have used. So if anybody has to post anything for their business, 77% of the people share the in social network and revenue. Can you believe that? 77% of the people are doing those things. So what is the average revenue per user for Facebook is $642, around $642. Can you believe? For one user they are earning among this. So how many users they have? 2.2 billion. So how much revenue they will generate? So this is how they are getting the business with a particular kind of data. They are giving us free, but they are earning a huge amount of revenue from us only. So before setting the context, data is much more important rather than going deep into the data science concepts and machine learning concept, because data is what brings you insight. Data is what brings you information and knowledge. That is what data science is all about. Now, if you see the hierarchy of data science, So you will have various data platforms, whether it can be a data architecture, whether you have to govern those data, you can have to integrate from particular kind of sources. For example, you have a social media data which comes from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and there can be some data which you will collecting from telecom companies like Tata, Airtel, Vodafone, and so there might be a different kinds of data platforms which will be coming over there. The next layer is the data science and analytics. This is the step where the people are investing on more, because this is one area where insights will generate. Data science and analytics. If you see analytics, there are 3 types of analytics which is mentioned over here: descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive nowadays. So whenever you start analyzing the data, this 3 process comes in picture. Okay. So data science is the hottest job in the 21st century that everybody knows, because it covers the entire domains. For example, whether it's statistics, whether it's computer science, and whether it's a domain expertise. So you have to cover these entire 3 domains together. And finally, when you go up a little bit more, you have to come out with certain type of dashboards and visualization, which is a part of business intelligence. So how you are generating business and what is the impact that is being created from your analysis, that you have to show it in the dashboard. And finally, it all comes to the insights, which helps to make decisions. So if you see the hierarchy of data science, that it covers the entire area from insights to a data platform, from starting from raw data to giving out an insight. So let me give you an example. For example, there is a company called as FedEx. You all might be knowing they transport goods from one area to another area. How they are using data science is on different areas. For example, what is the transportation cost that is being involved from traveling from one destination to another, and how they can minimize those costs. Also, what they have done, they have used sensors in their trucks, and they are able to find out what is the optimum utilizations of a particular space in that truck, whether that truck is fully loaded with packed of goods or not. They are optimizing those also. So whether nothing has been saved, right? They are utilizing the entire resources what they used to do. So these are all being analyzed through various IoT devices. One is called that sensors, from which they are collecting the data. Also, suppose a driver is traveling from one destination to another and he is waiting in a certain area. Why he is waiting in certain area? Why is a waste of time that is coming out, or whether is any problem in the truck or not. Okay, these are all being analyzed. This is how data science is working, and they are able to minimize those costs based on the business value they want to create. So everything is business. Rather than building some models and productionizing it, you will see whether it's applied in a real world business. That is most important, right? So I came from a business background where totally, if you are not utilizing what you have done, then that will be a waste. For example, we have also analyzed for COVID, and there has been a utilization for that. So it has been sent to the researchers, and they are also looking into it. So various things that people do, but if they are not being utilized correctly, or there might be challenges that will come. For example, in data science culture, you have built a certain type of models or certain type of dashboards, but that has not been utilized. So that also can happen. Okay. So now if you go over the process of data science, you will have a raw data. You will have the features of those data, and you will have models, and finally you will have insights. So just an overview for this. Data can be any form, whether it's any kind of structured data, unstructured data, textual data. And next comes the features. Features like the parameters of the data. It can be any, for example, for a customer related data, what is the customer feedback, or what is the customer volume of purchase and all. So it can be any kind of features based on the data that you are being collected. Whether it can be a survey data also. For example, you are all the students and you are researching for something, so you will create a survey data, and from that data there might be some features like how good is the survey and all. Finally, you are building out from those data, you are understanding it, doing some descriptive and diagnostic analytics, and finally you are building out certain insights from that, and finally able to find out that these can be the models, or this can be the predictive machine learning models that can be built. So machine learning and deep learning models comes in a later stage of part, where you want to automate certain process on a real-time basis, which you want to predict. So prediction gives us a lot of opportunity to understand what is the situation, or what can be the situation, or what is the probability of the event can be happen. So it is totally based on statistics, totally based on much more of a calculus based. And with those, there can be different types of models, whether it can be supervised, unsupervised, or it can be a reinforcement model. And finally, from that model, what insight you are getting out, that is the main part, and how the stakeholders or the business stakeholders will take decisions. Now, the most important part comes over here is the features. Features is a very important part, because in data science, feature engineering plays a vital role, because most of the time goes on that. So whether it can be exploratory analysis, whether it can be a data cleaning, whether it can be 25% if you see feature engineering comes. So feature engineering is, in a sense, what kind of features will impact on what. So for example, you are predicting sales. So sales, if you are predicting sales, what can be the sales for the next quarter or the next month? What are the features that is impacting sales? Whether it is the marketing cost, whether it is the number of footfalls that is coming, or whether it can be the market demand and supply that is also coming. So these are the relevant things that you have to focus on. So feature engineering is the most vital part. After that, it comes with algorithm selection. Algorithm selection, yes, it based on the data. So suppose your data is much more of a structured data, where you have the particular rows and columns, where you can build certain models, where you can predict. Okay. So this kind of data will help on supervised learning. Whereas where the data is unstructured, suppose there is no output data or label data is mentioned to you, then it will be goes towards unsupervised learning. So where you may have to generate certain clusters to find out the patterns and trends in it. Okay. So same way, if you go for COVID-19, the situation, if you see, there is a downfall on many areas. For example, one is the stock market. So stock market has gone a huge down. The Nifty and all prices has gone a tremendous drastic fall in this situation, because of the situation that is going around. Not only stock market, if you see the manufacturing companies, that has all been stopped, because labors are not there, they are not able to process that. Okay, so these are the situation which helps to analyze much more better. So what will come next if this situation gets over? How the manufacturing companies or the stock market companies will generate business, and how the situation will go rise. That is what prediction comes in picture. And finally, the models is the main part. So what kind of models, whether it's algorithm, whether it's deep learning or machine learning models you are using, and how you are tuning or making out churning out the performance of that model is also a very vital part. This is very important, and this also very much used in particular organizations also, because they check the accuracy of the models. Okay, now if you see the techniques to perform data science, so you will have data layer. So first is the collection of data, as I have told you. So whether it can be a web scraping or any kind of database or any kind of APIs you are using, or any kind of data lakes or data warehouse, you are collecting those data from certain areas. You have started to preparing those data that comes in the data preparation layer. So whether you are cleaning, doing some feature extraction, feature engineering, which features are more important, doing some certain kind of, if there is a textual data, what kind of textual pre-processing you are using. So those kind of data preparation layer comes. Next comes the exploratory data analysis, which goes for data visualization layer. For example, scatter plot, line chart, histogram analysis. So these are all things comes one step by step, and finally you come with a machine learning or a deep learning layer, where you will get the perfect type of models, whether it's supervised, whether it's unsupervised, whether it can be any type of neural networks, a time series data, or a tuning or model performance data. And finally, what inference that is coming out from that is most important and most vital thing. So all the steps that you have made from the below data layer to machine learning layer, unless you come out with an inference and you want to show that to the stakeholders, that is the most vital part. So because business stakeholders won't never understand what have you done, because they don't know anything about machine learning, data science, or they don't know anything about what coding you are doing. So that is the part where you have to make it a little bit simplified and show that to them that this is the inference that is coming out from this kind of data set that we have collected, and from that you can take out certain decisions like this. So recommendations is one thing. So if you see the use cases, 63% of the organization realize that a positive return on analytic investment within a year. So even people are using analytics, 63% of them have been realized that. 69% of the speed-driven analytics organizations created a significant positive impact on business. That is also another great achievement for the organizations in India only. 74% of the respondents anticipates the speed at which executives expects new data-driven insights. So nowadays, it is not based on any kind of theories or any kind of experience that is coming out, but it is rather based on data-driven insights. That is what 74% of the respondents has told. Now, if you see in a particular business, we have two things. One is the top line and one is the bottom line, right? So top line in the sense, what is the sales that is being generated, and bottom line is the profit, if you see. Now, if you see over here, the use cases that has been built, whether it's assortment optimization, cross-selling and upselling, that what Myntra, when you gives you recommendations, they do a lot of cross-selling and upselling. So whether you have purchased any goods from Myntra, how they are giving you email marketing or message in your phone. When you are opening a phone, you see there is a message in Myntra that 30% off. How they understand that 30% is the off that they should provide you so that you can come out to Myntra again and buy. So that is one is cross-selling and upselling. Churn prevention. For example, this is one of the use cases that is very much done in telecom companies, whether you are using Airtel or Jio. So how much the people are transferring their SIM cards from one telecom domain to another telecom domain. So churn preventions, which are the people that will churn out. So how they should prevent that, what offers and discounts they should give you, or what plans they should give you so that they can stick you. That is how the churn prevention has been. Pricing is very much important, whether it can be a retail company, manufacturing company, or any kind of product-based company, how they should keep up their prices. That is much more important. Stock inventory, that is inventory optimization. This is very much used in manufacturing companies. For example, how much the parts or the utensils that they should keep so that it can be optimized, so that the space will also be fully utilized. These are the several use cases based on top line. If you go for a bottom line, there will be predictive maintenance. So I was working on IoT sensors, so they were totally using predictive maintenance on gensets. So based on what should be the, for example, if you take an example like BMW cars, they have IoT sensors data in their cars. Suppose, for example, any accident happens, how they do a predictive maintenance on that. So if a certain BMW cars get on an accident, what they will do, that certain vibrations which has been generated due to that accident, from that vibration goes into the centralized system. And that centralized system will send you a call and tell you that if you go 100 meters straight and go to left, you will see a service center of BMW car, which will give you a free servicing. So please do that. So how fast they have generated that predictive maintenance so that they can stick to that loyal customers base. So if you go for finance, you will see fraud preventions. That's what insurance companies are doing. So there might be lots of fraud that is happening in the market, and how they should prevent that from a particular region, from a particular area, or from a particular set of people. They are having those frauds. And this is totally based on unsupervised learning. A cluster of group of people will do this kind of things. So clustering plays an important role. So workforce planning and all. So these are the several use cases that you can build on and that you can work on, so that data science will generate much at a faster rate. So the impact, if you can see, 20 to 50% of the call center cost has been reduced. Okay. So in case of predictive maintenance, so how much the predictive maintenance is doing. For example, Jio has set up a chat bot instead of having a laborers in there or the staff to having a customer support call. 20 to 30% of the warehousing cost has been reduced due to demand planning. So planning of demand is another important thing. That is a part of data science that has been used. So these are the several examples and the use cases that can be built in data science. Okay, so we can have questions right now.
Okay.
Yes.
I would request students, if you have any question, please write your question in the chat window. Sir, so far there is no question. I have already dropped a message to all the students that if they have question, they will put their question in the chat window.
Yes.
We'll take a 2 minutes break and then we'll start again. Aditya Marathi, I'm going to unmute you. So if you have any question, please ask your question. Yes, Aditya.
Yes, sir. Right now, I don't have any questions. If I have, I will let you know in the chat window.
Okay, no problem. Sir, shall we?
Hello.
Hello. Yes. Yes.
Professor.
Yes.
You gave one example of Mercedes.
Yes. BMW, sir.
So BMW. So
Yes.
whether some I have gone through that system. I have read one article which involves IoT and SAP for that.
Yes. Yes.
So there is role of sensors also, because that
Yes.
IoT technology helps to generate data, and on the basis of that data, the data processing center will take decision where the machine learning is, I think, important, and then that they will suggest to give directions if any fault occurs or something is happening inside the engine or car. They are giving indications back on the panel of driver. If I am not wrong, this is the mechanism, na?
Yes. So, for example, sir, let me give you an example. Suppose there was a bike accident that had happened, and he was wearing a watch which has been powered with sensors, IoT chips. So once he had an accident, the sudden fall in the ground, that the vibration which has been created to that sensor or the watch automatically called an ambulance by dialing his number. So the way the vibration that has been created, it automatically generates the number of an ambulance and called in. So that's what the process is. It's being automated totally. Rather than people calling an ambulance once there is an accident, that watch is already calling that.
Okay.
So it is all been powered with machine learning, which is running in the backend. That if the vibration goes over a certain threshold, then it should be dialing certain numbers on that.
Okay. I hope. Okay. Is there any question from student? I have just unmuted Chinmay Godke. Chinmay, if you are listening me, if you have any questions, you unmute your speaker and you can ask your question. Chinmay Godke from TEIT. Yes, Chinmay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Do you have any question?
Just a second. Yes, sir. Just 2 minutes.
Okay.
I have written the doubt. So can you please explain the models like the supervised learning or unsupervised learning?
Yes, sure. So let me give you an example. So whenever, for example, you are at class, your teacher teaches you, and it tells you that this is the process that you should be doing certain things, right? But when you are going home and started learning by yourself, that's where you comes with your own ideas and with your own creativity. So when your teachers teaches you, if you go on to this process, this is the level of output that you should get, or this is the level of answers that you should write. Okay, so that is, if you can say, is a supervised learning, where the answers or the output will be mentioned. For example, you are inputting certain data and you will have output to that, right? Whereas in unsupervised learning, there will be no output, no labeled. Okay, so for example, you are went to a bank and you want some loan, right? So how will the bank know whether they should provide you a loan or not? They will ask you certain questions. For example, what is your income, or what is your marital status, or what is your credit score, right? Now already they have the data of their people who were in the bank for several years, and from that there might be some default loaners also who has not been provided or not been able to complete the loan. So there might be some defaults. So they have those labeled data, who are being default, who are not being default. From that, they have built a model of prediction that these are the defaulters who are having those parameters. And when you insert your data into that system, it will tell you whether you are a defaulter or whether you are not a defaulter. So that is basically a supervised learning, where you already have the answers when you trained your model. But whereas in unsupervised model, you will have no output data. Basically, you have to give a raw data, and then it will make certain clusters out of that, or certain associations out of that. That is what unsupervised and supervised models. Are you clear?
Yes, sir. I have muted him actually. He might be understood. There is one more student, sir, who has raised the hand. Neha Kumari. Neha Kumari, she is a student of VIT. Neha, I have unmuted you. If you have question, please, you can speak. You can unmute your speaker. Neha?
No, sir, I don't have any doubt.
You have raised the question. Okay.
Hello?
Okay. No problem. Sir, I have one question.
Yes, sir.
I have
Yes,
question
sure.
for the professor. Sir, we know
Yes.
that machine learning, it gives you different algorithms or different models, right? But how would we identify that which algorithm or which model is suited for my problem?
Okay, yes, it's a good question, sir. So nowadays, this was a major challenge for most of the people. They were not able to understand what type of algorithm to use on what type of data, right? So you might having a separate problems, but there is a huge set of algorithms which you can use, and which will give you the best accuracy, right? But now is the situation where artificial data science and AI also takes in part, where you have a automated machine learning models. So you just give the data, and the automated machine learning models will automatically pre-process the data, do some feature extraction, and finally will select based on a huge set of models. That's what is happening right now. It's totally being automated. Rather than you are selecting, the model is automatically selecting based on the data you are presenting.
Okay, that's great, sir. Nice. Sir, few students, they have asked the question. Let me check in a chat window.
Yes.
I'll again appeal to all the students. If you have any doubt, I have unmuted all the students. So if you have any doubt, please let us know. Sir, I have unmuted all the participants.
No problem.
Okay. Is there anyone?
So I will only suggest the students that rather than doing everything together, focus on one is the model part and one is the feature engineering part. Because if you go for an interview, people will ask you about feature engineering. because this is the part where people struggles a lot, because 70 to 80% comes on that process. Okay, so if you have the data and you are not able to extract it in a correct way, you won't be able to find out insights from that.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so another part is the model part. Another part is the model part where you require lot of training, lot of model selections, and lot of performance tuning also. So there are a lot of hyperparameters which you have to use, which you have to understand first, the criteria or the different parameters of that model and how it can be used.
Okay.
Yes.
That's great. Sir, can you more elaborate on what is the prospect in the field of, what is the prospect of student in the field of data science and machine learning?
Okay, if you see, there might be certain roles. One is you don't jump into data scientist as of first, because data scientist is the last stage of this entire life cycle. So rather than starting with data analyst, business analyst, data engineer, data architect, data visualizer, data storyteller, there are a lot of roles, okay, which has been used in the industries right now. Okay, rather than jumping into data scientist first, because data scientist requires lots of domain expertise as of now. So I have been traveling to different industries where I have met with different data scientists who are having a great 12 to 13 years of experience on different domains, first of all. So domains in the sense, whether you are working as a finance, you should be well equipped with what financial conditions can be, right?
Yes.
So if you are in finance, you cannot understand what is manufacturing. That is a separate domain, right? And if you don't know the domain, how will you bring out insights from that?
Yes.
So rather than going different area, focused on a particular job role, for example, a data visualizer who will do creative visualizations to help the stakeholders to understand the data. Or you can be a data analyst who will process and clean the data in a better way so that the further machine learning engineers can build the model on that. So these all things you can do preferably. Or you can be a database expert, for example, querying out data from a database or building out a particular data warehouse to store that particular data. That is also a good role.
Okay, that's great. Sir, there is one
And
question.
if you talk about, yes.
Continue,
Go
sir.
on.
You continue, sir, please.
So, and if you talk about the salaries or the salaries expectations, what the students automatically expect when they come out from their colleges. Yes, in the first time as a freshers, when you are a fresher and you know anything about data science, it will take time to evolve with your salary. But if you see the experience that you will gather once you are in a data science field, and it will be over the past 20 to 30 years as of now, it will stay there for many years. So can you expect what will be the salaries over the past couple of years when you will grow? So don't expect a high level of salaries. Yes, you will get the salaries once you have a proper experience of the data.
That's great. That's great. Sir, there is one question from student named Varsha. Varsha, if you are hearing me, please. Varsha Sevade. She is a student of BIT. Varsha, can you hear me?
Sure.
Varsha. Varsha Sevade.
Yeah, you can also read out the question, sir, so that
She has.
Hello.
Yes.
yes, Varsha.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. I want to ask, sir, what are the curses of dimensionality in data science?
Okay, dimensionality is a separate part in unsupervised learning. You can say, for example, there might be a data of around 150 columns or around 10 lakh, 12 lakh, 15 lakh of rows. Now, 150 columns, if you process that data, it will take a lot of computational power. Okay, it will take a lot of cost. Okay, it will require a lot of time also.
Yes.
Right. So now for that we used to perform certain dimensionality reductions to find out the best possible features which we can use. For that we can use a principal component analysis, or we can use a factor analysis, or we can use a linear discriminant analysis. There are several types of statistical techniques that we can use to find out those impactful features which will help to generate business impact, and which will help the dependent or the predicted variables to much more impactful, basically.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So you can unmute your speaker now. So I think there won't be any questions. So, sir, if there are any questions, student will you can mail me the question. I will email this set of questions to the to our today's keynote speaker, Mr. Proyas sir, and he will share his email ID if you need any assistant in future. So I think
yes.
so.
And one last.
Yes, sir.
I think one last advice for the student is try to go on practicing as much as you can on a particular kind of data. It can be any kind of data, whether it's HTML data or several different formats of data. I can say it can be log files. You will get a different open source in the Google only. You will have a Google dataset search where you can find n number of data. So download that data and start practicing different kinds of things. Start exploring yourself. Professors will always help you, but if you start exploring by your own self, preparing certain analysis and come out to the professors and describe them what you have done, I think that will help you most. Because when I was studying masters in data science and analytics, I never waste a single day on doing certain analysis, which is waste for everyone, but which is insightful for me, because I might get some challenges which I come to the professors and ask help from them. So that is what I will suggest the students. So go on with different data formats and come out with a certain analysis and show to the professors where they are ready to help you.
Okay. Sir, can you just suggest a small use cases within our institute so that student they can explore this problem inside the institutes, and they can use they can leverage this data science and machine learning platforms to solve many of our institute level problems.
Okay, so are the students staying in a hostel or they are staying in their homes only?
Sir, we have girls hostel right now, and the boys they are actually staying nearby to the institute.
So students, what they can do, they can create a survey form in a Google form only, and from that they can generate certain type of data that if the students are staying in hostel, they are performing much more better in their examinations, or whether the students staying at their home are performing much more better at their experience. So whether the families is helping to influence the students to get more marks in their examinations, or whether it's the students' own idea or creativity by staying getting more marks, or whether the students who are staying at hostel are collaborating with each other, with other students, and helping to generate more insights or more marks in their examinations. This is one of the use cases that students can build out and come out to their professor. So whenever a new student comes, they can show that if you stay at hostels of a college, there might be a possibility that you get good marks, because there might be a lot of learning from different kinds of other students of different domains also.
Yes, sir.
So this is one of the possible use cases that you can build. There might be several use cases. For example, how many students are attentive in the class? So you can use a video analytics on that. Okay, what is the behavior of a particular students who are in that class? Whether they are listening to the teacher's lecture correctly or not, or how much percentage they are listening to the teachers, how much they are attentive.
Yes.
So I also did a workshop on PICT on image processing. So they have won a hackathon. The two students have won a hackathon on how the students are attentive in a particular class. So they have captured through videos, and from that they have processed that. So these are all you can probably do. So I will again suggest the students that professors will always help you, but if you take up certain use cases to reduce the cost of a particular college, for example, how to increase the number of students for the next year. So if the students can only do that, if there is a community which is doing for those, that might be great help for the entire college. So I think the college will never know you forever, right? So how much students that they can generate for the next years, right? So these are all things that the use cases that you can do probably. And what are the impact that is creating to join KBTCOE?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, Prayas.
Yes. Yes, sir.
What will require small data science and machine learning center at KBTCOE? What things will require under your expertise? If we are able to start something for our own use or our institutions use, some data related things, then
Yes.
whether it is feasible to start small data science center or machine learning center in IT department?
Yes, absolutely. It can be. It can be done. Nowadays, there are a lot of platforms that has been, even there is an open source, but why I am not preferring open source is because in different organizations, people don't use open source at all. They use their own platform, certain platforms like Alteryx, like Data IQ, like ML Studio, because the data is being secured, first of all.
Yes, that is important.
And next thing is that there might be a lot of projects, right? In open source, it will be very much difficult to come out with a particular project, go on to that project, change certain features and all. It will be very much difficult. Whereas a particular platform will help you to build on those things. Okay, and it is possible. People and universities are doing that. They are opening data science lab to help the students to empower the skills and also to get a placement on that.
Just you send proposal to Uzgire sir's mail. He will go through that and he will forward it to me. Then we'll try to do something in that direction.
Yes, sir.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, because
your help is required in that regard.
I am always there, sir. For Nitin
Okay.
sir, I am always there.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
The Shivaji University has already been started with data science lab. They are building up a huge data science lab with Dr. Kamath, is I think one of the head of MHRD who is doing those.
Okay. You help us. We will try in that direction definitely. Ujgire sir will take initiative in that definitely.
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir.
Sure. We'll do that, sir.
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
Okay.
I think with this.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. With this, it's time to conclude this webinar. It is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to express my heartiest thanks to Mr. Prayas Bose, sir, that he has given us the time.
Thank you.
Without, in spite of his professional commitments, in this pandemic situation, he has given his precious time. We are very thankful to you, sir. Then I would like to extend my heartiest thanks to our principal, Dr. N.S. Patil, sir, who is always with us, who always support us. I'm also very thankful to our vice principal, Professor N.B. Desle, sir, who is always a motivational force for us. I'm thankful to our head of the department, Dr. V.R. Sonone, sir, who motivate me to organize this webinar, without whom this webinar wouldn't be possible. And last but not the least, I'm also thankful to all the faculty member and the students who have joined this webinar and listening to our keynote speaker very patiently.